everyone, welcome back to Fantasy Benchwarmers, and it's another week and we're at the tail end of the awards, the Fantasy Team Awards that we're giving out. We're down to the last 10 teams, and today the 5 teams that we're gonna talk about are Oklahoma, Orlando, Philadelphia, Phoenix, and Portland. So medyo interesting din yung mga players that were picked. And tonight we have our commissioner, Eric Go, once again. And we have a new guest straight from Cebu, Mr. Grant Cheng. And I'm your host, Jeremy Tan. So, guys, let's get down to business kagad. So,
okay. Sige.
Studs, sleepers, and bust of every team. So, we'll start off with Oklahoma City Thunder. Ang MVP, unanimous, Chris Paul. Which is surprising in the sense that many people parang medyo inanos si Chris Paul eh. Parang
write-off na.
Before the season eh. Kasi parang matanda na, ganyan. But he proved a lot of people wrong eh. So parang sobrang stud talaga siya this year.
I think so. Go, Grant.
Chris Paul kasi I think he didn't fit well sa yung hard and dominant offense ng Houston. So people sort of overlooked and forgot what he could really do in terms of controlling the game. And this year, I think there's also a stroke of luck. Palagi namang every year may Chris Paul discount kung ilang games ang kaya niya bigay sa'yo eh. But he's been very durable this year. He played, let's see, he played all 63 games of the regular season. No? So who knew that he would play more games than Carl Anthony? So just because of that, he's back to borderline first round value.
Actually, nakakatawa sa liga natin. One of our managers, si Christopher, had Chris Paul, and then he wanted to trade him for a first rounder, tapos na veto. Whereas, if we look at it now, parang fair trade pala. Kasi ganun ka baba ang tingin natin kay Chris Paul noon na parang it's a fluke yung start niya of the year kasi sobrang hot talaga siya eh. And tama si Grant kasi people forgot na Chris Paul was actually a number 1 fantasy player.
Tama. And, I think I must admit I'm also guilty of this. For the longest time, I didn't buy the hype, and akala ko si Tope palagi nagsasell high. Pero yes. I'll just dictate. Look at these percentages, pare, for a point guard. 49% field goal on 13 attempts, tapos 90% free throw, 1.6. 3 points, 17 points, 5 rebounds, 6.8 assists, 1.6 steals. And best of all, only 2.2 turnovers. So, given how much time he has, the Rock controlling the offense, tapos with 7 assists, that's what made him elite this year.
Pero
I don't know, but I still wouldn't pick him high next year. Ako lang yun. But based on the results,
mahirap.
Give him props.
Yeah, Jay, ikaw next year. Kasi yan ang big question eh. Next year, will you believe this or not?
Actually, yun nga yung next question ko dapat eh. For next year, do you think he can keep the pace going eh? Ano ba siya this year? Pick mostly second round?
No,
I think third, fourth round ang pick sa kanya here.
I will pick him next year because I will predict that he will be traded to the New York Knicks. Yun lang ang only reason. It's almost too good.
Yeah.
You heard Sure yan. Wait for it. Off season traded to New York Knicks to. Definitely.
So that would, if ever that happens, ano yan? Would that be a good for him fantasy-wise?
Yes. I think it will be good for him fantasy-wise. Kasi with New York, kailangan siya talagang maglaro more than OKC. Kasi I think OKC was just forced to play him eh. Kasi they were tanking eh. But they were winning. So okay, let's just play him. I don't think na sustainable yon. I think sa New York,
correct.
Definitely kailangan nila manalo, kailangan nila ng new culture, so they will play him.
And kailangan nila ng point guard. They always rotated their point guard. Si I don't Intikilina, si Moody, they never figured out kung sino point guard nila. So it was always up diba, for audition. So Chris Paul comes in, that's his job agad.
So tingin nyo, which round would be fair to pick Chris Paul next year?
Grant, ikaw muna.
Baka ako I think the health year is still more of medyo long term ako tumingin in terms of health history. Yung if he had one good year, okay. So baka early third round, I'll consider him na.
Third round.
Early third round would be around 30, 29 to 30 at pick. Kasi 14 teams tayo eh.
Correct.
I would agree with that. Siguro I would be more around 30 to 35 rin, like you. Kasi I do not think nasa 40 siya. He's too good. And clearly he still has something left. And I think yung injuries niya kasi more of the latter part of the season. So I think 30 to 35 would be right.
Pwede na rin siguro. Pero ako, I still won't go after him. Kahit na, unless nasa mga 4th, 5th round siguro yan. But for
Hindi siya abot ng 4th to 5th round. But kukunin siya because if you miss out on the early run of point guards like sila Steph, sila Trey, sila ganyan, magpapanik ka eh. Kasi kailangan mo ng point guard in this fantasy era of ours. Kailangan mo ng elite point guard. So you would get him. Mapo-force kang kunin siya.
Right.
Sige, let's move on to sleeper. Sleeper ni Eric was Nerlens Noel and Dennis Schroeder. And then Grant had Noel then, and then I had Schroeder. Actually, medyo surprised ako kay Noel. Gumawa ba talaga siya?
Si Noel gumawa siya this year. Actually, siya lang ang nag-top 80 player in less than 20 minutes. So wala siyang minutes. So very deceiving si Noel kasi for people were just looking at the counting stats. He never scores double figures. Pero in less than 20 minutes, his steals and blocks are really elite for limited minutes. So he got into the top 80 with that. And I think tama lang na maging ganyan na yung going forward for Noel kasi he cannot play more than 20 minutes. His body breaks down. So I think yan na yung role niya going he fouls a lot. I think it's like a poor man's Marcus Camby, something like that for me. And sleeper siya because hindi matunog eh. People think that he just plays 20 minutes. How can he contribute? But he does.
Saka people expect from parang ina-expect nila he should be playing more. Kaya hindi nila kuha agad si Nerlens.
Noel. Yes.
But ako, the reason why also sleeper ko rin yan, and I pick him next year. If he's still somewhere in the late round of the draft, tapos so far walang kumuha sa kanya. There's always the upside na baka ma-injure si Adams or ma-trade away, especially if OKC is tanking. And if that happens, I think he's about to get a lot more touches.
But do you think that will be good for him, Grant, pag he gets more minutes? Or baka lumabas yung warts ng laro niya na parang inefficient, fouls a lot. So, tingin mo ba that would...
Walang offense right? Si Noel, too much on offense.
We can give it a try. Don't risk such a high pick on.
I agree with Grant. Siguro yung point ni Grant din. Kasi wala ka masyadong investment sa kanya, pick-wise. So parang whatever you get from him would be a big bonus na siguro.
Tsaka
similar with Schroeder.
Actually, si Noel, going back to Noel quick lang, he's not really an attractive player for many of the fantasy managers because of the injury history, the low minutes. So if you could get him towards the late round or medyo steal na siya for if he performs the same way, di ba? So let's move on to Schroeder. Schroeder, I think I picked Schroeder kasi parang medyo surprised din kasi given the guard situation ng OKC, they had Shea, SGA, and then they have Chris Paul. So parang in-expect ko baka sobrang layo na. Expectation yata ng mga tao was more like the Atlanta days na siya yung nagmaman. Pero this year parang ganun rin yung naging output niya. A little less pero was there for a period na talagang maganda yung mga games niya.
Pinik ko rin si Schroeder kasi actually napick ko yan in one of my teams, 130 something, 240 something pick na eh. And I got him parang no expectations. I was planning to drop him after 1 week or 2 weeks. Pero until the end, until nag-stop yung fantasy, it was still in my roster kasi para siyang Lou Williams scores a lot. And kahit konti lang yung assist, parang for a last pick mo, to give you 17, 20 points minsan, 'di ba? Parang sobrang laking help eh.
Pwede na.
So for me yung OKC, yun nga, maraming mga underrated players.
Ikaw, Grant, any take on Schroeder or
kasi ako lang this is sometimes in fantasy it boils down to playing style, 'di ba? You sort of have a strategy, then there are certain players that na if you try to go with them, it forces you to a certain strategy. Schroeder is one of them na ang pinakaayaw sa kanyang field goal niya eh. Na any given night sisirain niya yung FG mo.
Yes.
So he's sort of a player na I'll let others get the value. Parang if they find him, I do see na may value siya. And if I were to build a certain team, ganun. But hindi ako natutuwa sa ganung classic team. Or at least, that's not the way I like to play fantasy. So, for him, I waiver wire pick up pala, sa akin siya for just because of his style of play, not for me lang.
Very inefficient.
Let's move on to bust. Unanimously, it's Steven Adams. Anong disappointment again with Steven Adams?
I think, ako sabi ko lang, not a bust in the sense na sobrang let down the drop mo siya, no? Like si Dwayne Dedmon, nakala ko would at least give some late round value pero walang kwenta. Steven Adams just underperformed. But of all the picks, kasi OKC has a very thin roster to pick from fantasy-wise. Konti lang talaga kukunin mo sa kanila fantasy. So at center spot talagang si Adams naman kukunin mo. So he got his minutes, he got his touches. Pero I was looking at his stats. I mean, this year he scored less points than last year with Westbrook out. So doon nagulat ako. He even rebounded less this year on an average basis. So I thought he'd step up, try to take more of an active role sa scoring, rebounding, but maybe he's satisfied with that role. So that's why bust lang in the sense na I had higher hopes for him. I was actually going to target him kung he was available at a certain spot, pero he just underperformed. Not exactly a bust, pero underperformed.
Yung rebounds is quite surprising kasi parang without Westbrook, you thought kasi with Westbrook parang ang feeling natin ang role lang niya was to box out for Westbrook eh. Pero
sa akin, if you guys remember, medyo na-injure kasi si Adams. Parang very rare siya nagkaroon ng injury history before. Pero this season, sa middle of the season nagkaroon siya ng injury history. And I think after nung na-injure siya, parang medyo nag-pick up na yung game niya. Pero ako, I picked Adams because I agree with Grant. Sa OKC, if you look at all their players, everybody performed more or even at par to what you expect from them. Kaya nga sila with a very good record eh. And even Adams kahit na yung pick ni Adams was so-so, by default na lang siguro siya na talaga yung boss. Kasi tama si Jet din naman, we expect more from him with Westbrook out. And Paul George, I mean, wala na yung mga stars pero ganun pa rin yung level niya. So I guess that's a disappointment. You can consider that a disappointment.
So next year, do you stay away from Adams or?
Ako trivia lang I've never had Adams in any of my fantasy teams ever. So I guess that answers your question. Kasi I didn't ever like him. Kasi wala siyang isang stat na elite And for a big man, he doesn't make threes. So no.
Ikaw, Grant, you stay away from Adams.
No, Adams, I'd pick him. If he was available for some reason in the, let's see, what round would I pick him sa liga natin? Siguro, for some reason, kung nasa late round siya, mga 6 or 7, baka kunin ko na yan.
6 or 7?
I don't know kung babag that much.
6 or 7, mga 84 onwards. 85th, 84th.
Center, still a center. And kukunin ko na yan ako kasi I see him as a building block. You have to have another superstar, and he's a building block that just enhances the stats that he doesn't really hurt you anywhere except maybe free throws, pero low free throw volume naman siya. So livable yan.
All right. Sige, let's move on to Orlando Magic. So MVP natin unanimous was Nikola Vucevic, which is ano naman talaga siya.
Si Vucevic actually MVP na underrated din eh. For all the all-stars, all the fantasy studs, siya na yung pinaka-underrated siguro. People forget about him. Pero every year nasa top 20 siya. This year, nasa top 20 pa rin siya. Pero sobrang underrated. Lalo na he developed the three-pointer.
Last year, he was first-round value. So
yes, last year first-round value. This year medyo bumaba. But still in the top 20. But people forget about him. Parang the white European guy. Parang
Tahimik,
diba? So parang
Montenegro. Oh.
Tahimik lang kasi si Vucevic eh, kaya parang nothing fancy eh. Hindi sila katulad, walang name value. Pero fantasy-wise, sobrang efficient, sobrang solid yung mga numbers niya.
Yes. Sobrang solid. Last year lang he got injured ata, if I remember right, na-injure siya at the end eh. So that was very disappointing. Kasi he was really in the top 12 last year. So I think that affected people's view of him going to this season. Pero he again, before nag-stop yung season, he was able to deliver.
Sige, let's move on to sleeper kasi dito nagkaiba talaga lahat. So, si Eric had Jonathan Isaac, and then si Grant had Evan Fournier, and then I had Markelle Fultz as a sleeper. Wants to go first and
Si Grant na muna.
Si Grant.
Well, ako Evan Fournier lang kasi in the I think during the draft season he was being picked some late rounds na, but actually this year he delivered pretty good mid-round value. Nagulat ako nung tinignan ko yung stats niya ulit. He was actually scoring close to 19 points a game on 2.7 3-pointers a game and on field goal percentage of 47%. So I thought yung combination na high scoring and 3-point shot with good field goal, that was enough to say na he's not necessarily someone na you'd reach for or talagang you'd aggressively target, but if for a guy that you drafted probably mid to late rounds, pretty good results.
Actually, I had Fournier.
Let's see.
I had Fournier also as one of my sleepers. I just had to choose between Isaac or him, and I chose Isaac because I felt Isaac this year kind of got into the siguro first round, second round level for me, I think. And one of the biggest questions for Isaac na actually going forward is next year will he be already a top 20 player in the NBA? So I feel yung ganung step up niya was really surprising. Hindi mas surprising, was everybody's waiting for it. Pero ito na yun. Parang ito na yung Sean Marion moment niya. So parang ginawa ko siyang sleeper kasi hindi pa rin.
So hindi lang siya na-injure, I think,
hindi lang siya na-injure,
di ba?
Yes. Yung injury ang question na naman sa kanya.
Which is, yun yung laging magiging
ito na naman.
Mga
yes.
managers to pick him early in the early rounds kasi yung injury history niya eh. This year, he was really well pero sobrang na-disappoint after mid-season pa lang yata nung na-injure siya eh.
Mga January yata eh. Pero ito if walang injury at all, sabihin na natin healthy siya next year, I think kahit top 15 papasok siya eh. I think top 15.
Tingin mo pre, top 15?
No injury no injury, no anything. Next year, not this year. I think
after I thought sa draft. After the season.
Sa draft. I mean, next year sa draft, he will be targeted, could have been targeted that early if you finish this season healthy.
Okay.
But now na ganito ang nangyari, you will get a big discount with him. Next year, definitely, you will get a big discount with him. But discount in the sense na ma-injure ba siya o hindi. Pag na-injure, hindi na discount. So, it's a risk-reward thing.
Ako naman I pick Fultz kasi in some of the leagues I picked him mga last round na eh. Pero nung sinimulan siyang gamitin, it was kahit pa paano, he was producing already, not to the level na first pick player, pero at least there was improvements na dun sa numbers niya. Efficiency, medyo may efficiency, tapos steals, and then yung points niya, and then the assist. So, for me, actually, medyo torn din ako between Isaac and Fultz. Pero si Isaac kasi medyo, yun nga, hinihintay na natin to eh. So, parang for me, hindi na siya sobrang surprising kasi sobrang hype na nga siya eh. So, madidisappoint lang tayo pag hindi niya nagawa yung ginawa niya this year. So I had Fultz for my sleeper. Alright, move tayo sa boss natin, unanimous, Aaron Gordon.
Yeah.
Kasi si Aaron, I was looking at it as parang, wala eh, every year people are parang hyping him into some player na parang exciting player, is a big that can play small, that can play center, is like the new breed of forward. Pero every year, aside from the dunk contest, wala. You forget about him after the dunk contest, you forget about him before the dunk contest, and then wala na, tapos na. He's so disappointing. Sobrang disappointing talaga. I don't understand kung he will ever get it, but I don't know.
Hindi kasi clear if Orlando is using him as their parang franchise cornerstone, or alam mo yun, parang hindi mo alam kung star player siya or supporting role lang ba siya for the Magic kasi parang the way he's been hyped, parang iisipin ng mga tao he's a franchise player nila eh. They will build around Aaron Gordon eh, pero parang laging sablay eh pag nag-start na yung season eh. Ikaw, Grant, your take.
Ito lang advice ko. If you're going to join the dunk contest, dapat manalo ka na. Because look at what happened to Zach LaVine. Siya naman, he's outperforming already. The dunk contest is past LaVine na, di ba? Parang hindi na niya iniisip yun. He's taking threes, giving assists, making layups. So, he's still a high flyer. People, on a breakaway in the open court, people will stand up for Zach LaVine. But he's so much more than that now for the Chicago Bulls. This is just me playing armchair psychologist. But somehow, feeling ko si Aaron Gordon, I don't know, feeling ko lang that dunk contest, losing it twice like that, sort of in the back of his head, palagi siyang wants something to prove, yung nag-aangas, yung nagpo-posture na he's something he's not. So, tama na eh. Every year we look at him, and every year he sort of disappoints. 14 points a game this year. Tinitingnan ko, 14 points a game, tapos efficiency niya 43% field goal, tapos he gets almost very little defensive stats. So parang Aaron Gordon maybe late round, but yeah, certainly bust in the sense of if you were thinking he might break out or he might improve this year, you would have been disappointed this year.
Maybe hindi rin siya pinapalaro sa correct position niya. I don't know, kasi he's playing with Isaac and both of them are like interchangeable with small power forward. I think Aaron Gordon at power forward would have the best chance na mag-reach ng potential niya. Whether it's in Orlando or kung ma-trade siya to another team, which is very possible next year. I think
possible.
Next year,
pero
pag ma-trade siya next year,
bust siya.
Yes, bust talaga siya this year.
Alright, sige. Let's move on to Philadelphia 76ers. We had MVP Joel Embiid. Ako, feeling ko, actually wala na pili kasi na-injure si Ben Simmons eh. So, pero in reality, feeling ko medyo nag-dip yung performance niya compared to last year. Or slow start lang rin talaga. He had a slow start. Pero wala na rin ibang choice talaga eh for the 76ers eh.
Sa akin si Embiid, by default, you have to pick him. Kasi if he plays, he will contribute. Pero I will not, as much as possible, I won't pick him. Kasi dami niyang rest games eh. So, ang dami niyang rest games, and then he's very injury prone. A little nick, a little something like there, he's not gonna play na. It's gonna be there, we're gonna be very cautious with him. So, MVP siya kasi he still produces. But if you want an MVP na medyo mas consistent, get somebody else. Maybe Tobias, maybe Ben Simmons or whatever. Pero MVP ko siya just because, he's talented and he produces when he plays.
Yeah, he's the stud on this team, I think. Even with the injuries, he outperformed all the other players on this team.
Yes.
Honestly, di ba, I wouldn't use a first round pick on him because I just didn't want to, or I don't want, there are other people I'd rather pick with my first round pick. No? I'll let others pick him na lang.
Would you pick him or Kawhi?
Ako, Kawhi.
Talaga?
Kawhi ka?
Kawhi, I know he's a little bit, Kawhi pa rin ako.
So you think Kawhi is gonna play more than Embiid?
Certainly, I think mas may upside kay Kawhi in terms of, let's see how how much load management he does. And when he does play, you're right pareho sila in the sense that when they do play, magaling. Pero I just feel that why I pick Kawhi is because when push comes to shove, let's say the Clippers need positioning or maglalaro yan eh. Whereas si Embiid feeling when he doesn't play, it's because he's injured, which are two different things. One is by choice, one is by injury. Eh. So if by choice, when he comes back, he always plays well, he always contributes. Whereas si Embiid, if he doesn't play, he gets injured. Nakakatakot minsan, is he gonna be the same? Is he going to perform as well? Or is he going to favor one side of his body, one leg? So mas Kawhi ako in that sense.
I had Embiid in one of my teams this year. Pero I think I'll have to agree with Grant. Medyo Kawhi din ako in the sense that I think yung dynamic nila with Ben Simmons and Embiid na parang they don't know, hindi sila sure how they want to play with each other eh. Kasi parang di ba si Simmons is more of parang si Embiid is plugging the lane for Simmons. So parang medyo magulo yung dynamic nila. At least for Kawhi, alam mo the offense revolves around him eh. Kaya niyang gawan ng paraan eh. Siguro in terms of the load management thing, baka halos same lang. Pero tama si Grant. Pag na-injure si Embiid, baka it could be a long-term or a season-ending injury kagad eh. Si Kawhi, kahit minor injury, ipapahinga lang niya and then he plays again a few, medyo sensitive lang si Kawhi. Pero he can push further dun sa niya. Sa yung katawan niya, kaya niyang i-push more. Mas fragile lang for me si Embiid.
Okay.
Baka pag nakita ni Kawhi yung The Last Dance, makita niya, si Pippen pala kaya maglaro sa, okay, kahit na food poisoning ka, pwede.
Hindi ganun. Sana ganun, pero hindi.
Ako may iba ako sa inyo, mabilis lang. Mag-Embiid ako kasi so far wala pang season ending injury si Embiid as far as I know. Hindi naman yung ACL or anything. Saka feeling ko mas kailangan niya yung positioning sa East more than sa West. Kaya nag-Embiid ako. Pero close.
Sige. Let's move on to sleeper. Sleeper, Eric and I had Tobias Harris, and then si Grant picked Alec Burks, and may side comment doon when he picked it was that it was from the
Golden State.
Daya yun sorry.
Golden State Warriors. So go. Who wants to go first? Si Grant na lang.
Si Grant,
Sorry. Aminin ko, daya yun na when you said Philadelphia 76ers, technically he's with the 76ers now, but all of Alec Burks' value was when he was playing with Golden State. Yes. So shout out lang siya because he was on my team. He was a waiver wire pickup. No one picked him up. He played a few good games. I took a flyer on him, and I kept him on my roster until he got traded away to Philadelphia. So I cap out lang to. Medyo nandaya ako, but he was Alec Burks was a great sleeper in the sense that he was waiver wire pickup gold. Top 3 yan along with Devonte Graham sa waiver wire champions this year. So props lang sa kanya. And anyway, in terms of sleepers sa Philadelphia, there's no one really that told me na, or pag tinignan ko yung stats nila, na sayang, I should have picked him earlier or I should have targeted him aggressively. More or less feeling ko they were who I thought they were sa Philadelphia. So that's why nandaya ako with Alex Burks. I'll ask forgiveness from your listeners, Jay.
Okay lang.
Very similar nga tayo, Grant, kasi I was thinking nag-iisip ako, will I put Perks? But alam kong sa Golden State. So naisip ko nung uli, sige, hindi ko na lang ilalagay. But I would have picked him also. Pero ganun din, same. Golden State ang dahilan. Sa kung Philly ang pag-uusapan, pinit ko lang si Tobias kasi number one, yung draft position niya saka yung performance niya is similar, is the same. Ang difference lang, Tobias never misses games. So, consistent siya eh. He's very consistent. He's very quiet, very silent. But every game, as in same stats all over and over again. And sleeper siya in a sense na parang si Vucevic. Parang people forget about him. So, in a way, in trades, for me, in trades na lang inisip ko. In trades, you can get him cheaper than maybe what he really is valued at. Kasi, di ba, parang hindi siya mabangong pangalan.
Ako naman I picked Tobias kasi I remembered dun sa auction draft natin. I think si Eric nakuha mo si Tobias, di ba?
Oo, nakuha ko si Tobias.
So that was towards the end na eh. Like yung value niya at that point was super cheap na for you for the auction draft. So parang na-realize ko not everyone, wala talagang nagigi-give sa kanya ibigay sa kanya ng credit for yung sa mga performance niya eh. Or talagang hindi nila ina-expect na gagawa siya with Simmons and Embiid in the so I just picked Harris for that reason. Okay, let's move to the bust. Josh Richardson is a unanimous bust for Philadelphia. Ako, I had Richardson in 2-3 leagues yata eh. So, actually, siya eh, roller coaster eh. Like, there are times na okay, he started out okay naman, pero towards the mid part, medyo nawala. And then towards the end, wala na rin talaga masyado na-injure. And then, parang roller coaster eh. May mga games that was good, may mga games na wala masyado.
I think with Richardson, ang value niya talaga is steals eh. And you would get it from him, but you would be scared ano yung kapalit. So parang okay lang sana if he gets steals and then he doesn't try to attempt too much. But usually hindi eh. He's gonna kill you in field goal. He's gonna give you steals, but he's gonna kill you in field goal. So parang last year kasi medyo sa Miami, he was featured more eh. Players na inefficient, if they're featured more, mas kaya mong sakyan yung inefficiencies because the volume might be there. Pero with a stacked team like Philadelphia, with very, very few opportunities, pag malas siya that day, pwede ka ma-0 out of 7, pwede ka ma-0 out of 6. Sobrang sakit nun, you'll get nothing out of him. So kaya very, very disappointing this year.
Pero yung steals niya this year was wala.
Yes, mababa rin.
Wala rin eh. Wala ka rin nakuha eh.
Kasi naging role player siya eh.
You know, I thought he would be I actually like J. Rich's game, no? I gotta admit, in fact, tried to target him in a trade pa sa liga natin a couple of times early in the season. I like him. That's the reason why he's a bust for me, because I was disappointed in his production this year. I really like very versatile players who give you all sorts of stats, especially from the guard position. That's I think that's valuable in fantasy. Pero yeah, tama si I agree with Eric na I think in Philadelphia there's just too many mouths to feed. Nandiyan si Embiid, nandiyan si Tobias, nandiyan yung boyfriend ni Jenner. So
Simmons.
So siya, medyo nasapawan siya. So and he was able to showcase. Parang Jimmy Butler light siya, pero ginawa sa Philadelphia, parang 3-and-D lang siya eh.
Yeah. Eh hindi siya ganun ka good a shooter to be a 3-and-D.
Yes, exactly.
Parang if you have 5 attempts lang a game and you can make 1, I mean, kung swerte ka ay nag-game, you get 2 to 3. Parang walang value eh.
Ang problem rin he's really not known as a scorer. So mas kilala talaga siya sa 3-and-D. Maybe yung offense lang is not the right fit for it. Ewan ko rin kasi parang pag-iisipin fit naman.
We're talking about it fantasy-wise eh. Fantasy-wise, hindi. Maybe in real life, perfect siya for the Sixers with what they need. Pero for us, fantasy players, hindi. So, I think yan ang isang sa atin warning next year na medyo stay away.
we'll see. First year niya with this new team rin. And ako, between Miami and Philadelphia, siyempre, mas masaya tayo sa Miami. Biglang, from beach city, napunta siya sa Philadelphia. I don't know kung it affected his psyche, but we'll see how he does next year. Diba? I'm still willing to take a chance on him, but definitely at a discount na.
Ano na, mid-round, late
round ko yan kukunin. Late mid-rounds. Kung available pa. Kung hindi, I'll pass on him and let's see how he does.
Sige. Okay, so now let's move on to Phoenix Suns. So, Eric, Grant, kami ni Grant, we had Devin Booker as the MVP or the stud. And then si Eric had DeAndre Ayton. Actually, curious ako bakit DeAndre 25 games missed. Tapos na-injured pa nung huli.
Ako, naalala mo yung sa Atlanta, si John Collins din yung pinili ko over Trey. Kasi ang iisip ko na lang more, ang nilagyan ko ng value yung per game basis niya. Si Ayton kasi surprisingly, kung titingnan mo yung stats niya, sa na-miss niyang games na dahilan na kasalanan niya. Pero sa mga games na laruan niya, nasa top 12 siya eh.
Yeah,
nasa top 12 siya. So, I understand Devin Booker. I mean, if you're gonna go with parang total stats, Devin Booker. Pero for me, per game lang ang tinignan ko. So, I chose DeAndre Ayton. Kasi I feel then, next few years pa, talagang double-double machine with high percentages. At saka nagkaroon siya ng blocks this year. He was 1.7 blocks or 8 blocks. 1.7 or 1.8 blocks this year. Kaya nag-Ayton ako. Yun.
Grant.
Well, ako, definitely as a dynasty or for next season, I'll be high on Ayton. No? Actually, that's one of the things that I was looking for. Once he figures out yung speed at saka yung pace ng NBA play and the tendencies of other players, he's going to be a great defensive presence. And with those types of blocks, that's yan ang cornerstone, building block yan na pwedeng first round pick and you can build your strategy around him. So I'm high on Ayton, pero if we're just talking about this season, he's got to take the reason why sa akin siya yung naging buzz is he has to learn from what happened, diba? He's got to be more responsible for what he takes into his body, or just because ngayon hot na topic ang PED, you just can't allow it to happen. Especially in the NBA and the basketball, it has one of the more positive images in American society. So I think they've shown, or the league has shown, they'll be very strict about this. And just on a side note, you remember dati na nung lumabas yung balita na to, they said that the NBPA might appeal, diba, and reduce his sentence. But that went nowhere. So that tells me even the players themselves collectively and the league are sort of in agreement na this is not worth fighting about. If nahuli ka with PEDs, you gotta be careful. That's why sa akin ba siya. Devin Booker lang, he became more efficient this year. That's always been my knock on him, no? Chucker, he didn't know how to pick his spots. Was a great scorer, had a good feel for the game, but he's very young. So I've been waiting for the year where he sort of figures it out, reads the game a little bit more carefully. Medyo nag-slow down yung game for him, and then he can make his teammates better from his position as a shooting guard, point guard. No, pwede siyang mag 1 or 2. So that's why I really liked Devin Booker, and in fact, if natandaan nyo, pinito yung trade ko with Dennis T. Devin Booker doon sa Dynasty.
For ano yun?
Gosh, sino nga ba yun? I think it was Devin Booker and Jason Tatum. So talagang sino ba yung first round pick? I was giving away Anthony Davis. So medyo napaisip talaga yung liga. I remember na veto ako na 50-50 vote.
Yeah.
But mapapaisip ka talaga nun. Kasi that was Anthony Davis for those two guys. Pero kalimutan ko na yung exact parameters of the trade.
Basta
Sige.
Basta if Anthony Davis is involved, mapapaisip ka talaga eh. Laging ganun yung trades eh. Pero ako, I picked Booker, yun nga, dahil siya lang naman talaga yung stud doon. Although si Aiton talaga when he plays, very efficient, wala kang complain eh. I think malaking factor din for Booker was si Rubio was handling the point guard duty. So medyo naging mas efficient si Booker, and then ang focus na lang niya was to shoot the ball and score talaga. So I think yun yung malaking factor. But I think yun, pero tama kayo. I think si Aiton, if hindi siya na-suspend, would have been the stud talaga kasi mas efficient, plus he gives the defensive stats more than Booker. So, let's move to the sleeper. So, sleeper, actually nag-iba rin. So, si Eric had Kelly Oubre, Grant had Ricky Rubio, and I picked the lesser known of all, si Aaron Baines. Kaya ko lang naman pinik si Baines kasi when Aiton was out, siya talaga yung gumawa. And then, hindi lang yung gumawa for the parang support role pero medyo malaki yung impact niya dun sa game eh. So
actually yung pinik natin tatlo, for me wala akong argument. All three I think were really sleepers, which makes you wonder but Phoenix is so bad as a team. But for my choice, si Kelly Oubre, parang ano siya eh, parang this year
first round value yata siya eh.
Halos first round, na-injure din siya nung huli eh, if you remember. Pero before that, sobrang sarap niyang i-own kasi he had multiple steals and then may blocks and then may threes. One of the very few na ganon. And again, underrated na naman kasi hindi naman siya ganon ka-sikat as a player. Ay parang every year lang na we're parang waiting for the time na he will find this parang second gear or other gear in his game. And this year, yun, na niya yung na fulfill na niya yung potential.
Last year medyo he showed some glimpses nung nasa Phoenix siya, 'di ba? So last year medyo maganda na yung nilaro niya. So Grant.
Pero this year kaya siya hindi mataas for me kasi may Mikal Bridges eh. So people were medyo iffy kung papalaruin siya enough or magiging 50 parang timeshare with Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
And ang nangyari, si Mikal Bridges ang nawala. Siya ang totally finisher ng Phoenix. Kaya medyo steal siya for me.
Yeah. Grant, your pick, Ricky Rubio.
Ako sa akin kasi Rubio has been we know what we're getting with Rubio, diba? We know we're gonna get assists and steals. Not bad on the scoring. I mean, mediocre sa scoring, mid to usually mid-teens na makukuha mo sa kanya, 1 or 2 3-pointers a game, can control his turnovers. Pero so he's still given the same transferring to this new team. I was surprised he was averaging 8.9 assists and 1.5 steals. So from the point guard spot, and he's an excellent free throw shooter. He still gave you more than 1-3 a game with 13 points. Okay na yun. I mean, the only knock on his game talaga, he's still very inefficient from a field goal perspective, no? Pero free throw okay siya. And he can keep his turnovers down for a point guard. So this year he's sa liga natin, he is close to 4th round value. So if you had told me would I use a 4th or 5th round pick on Rubio at the start of the season, I would have told you na no, I probably have other targets. Siguro 7 or 8, baka 6 maybe if I don't have a point guard. But the fact that he almost made it to 4th round value this year when the season stopped, no, that made him my sleeper.
Malaking si Rubio yung one of those players na sobrang hype before. Tapos ngayon naman sobrang boring.
Parang we know what we're getting with him, but what we're getting with him was enough.
Ganyan ito na tayo katanda kasi we started with him na parang he was a teenager, parang the next big thing. Ngayon naman she's the past player na parang downward na player na.
Parang role player na lang ang treatment.
Role player na lang kaya naging steal na siya.
Parang Eric, alam mo naman, nostalgic tayo eh. Kapag nandyan pa si Michael Jordan at Kobe Bryant sa fantasy, alam mo, pipik ko si Michael Jordan. Para takutin yung mga Scott Burrells on my team.
Si Kobe lumabas pa sa fantasy.
Oo, lumabas pa.
Sadly for the wrong reason.
That was a tribute. That was a tribute to him.
Yeah. So, sige, let's move on to to the bust. Si Eric had Mikal Bridges, si Grant had DeAndre Ayton, and then I had DeAndre Ayton and si Saric. Si Saric mainly, si Ayton mainly for me, yung 25 games was a big deal for me kasi I had him in 2 leagues yata eh. So, medyo malaking naging impact nun sa akin kasi parang nag-bottom ako dun sa isa. So, and then si Saric naman kasi everyone was expecting him to be the starting power forward. Tapos, parang last year, medyo disappointment siya. And then, naisip na, since magkakaroon siya ng playing time, he'll be more productive. Pero wala talaga eh.
Sa akin, si Mikal Bridges, alala ko pa siya kasi he ended his rookie season really hot. As in, very, very hot. That. As in, like, insane yung mga stats niya with steals, threes. So, parang coming to this season, he was pre-ranked na sa 90. Oh, I remember that. 90 mataas siya. And ako naman, I fell for it. So, almost all my teams, I got him at 90 or 80 something or whatever. Basta nandun sa area na yon. But until the end of the season, wala. Hindi ko siya napakinabangan at all. Minutes number one.
Na, di ba, pare?
Oo, minutes was not there. Na-overshadow siya ni Kelly Oubre. Tapos kung ma-injure man si Rubio or sino man, they put Booker as a point guard. And then, si Mikal came off the bench pa rin. They used Cam Johnson over him pa. So, parang sobrang disappointing kasi 90 is already 5th round value for me eh. To get 0 from that position is mabigat din. Although, naintindihan ko rin yung Ayton kasi first round yun eh. So, syempre, malaki rin yun. Although, hindi kasi...
Even the steals rate niya this year, wala eh.
Oo. Wala talaga.
Yeah, ako... just commenting on from a dynasty perspective, you remember, di ba, we started our dynasty. He was a waiver wire pickup last year, and I held on to him like gold, no? Dynasty. And sabi ko, I'm gonna sell this guy high. Sabi ko, let someone, parang I'm gonna trade him for a mid-round player. But when the season started, he just never took off, and I never had a window of opportunity to sell him. And I had high hopes for him then. So I understand. Mikal Bridges,
maybe it's a new coach. Or maybe it's a new coach, hindi bagay sa system ng coach niya. That's possible also.
Oh. So, with these young players talaga, medyo roll of the dice eh. Even from year to year. So,
yes.
I understand na he's a bust definitely. For me lang, not as big as Ayton. You must have used a second round pick for that, di ba?
Yes.
Tsaka medyo loaded, if you think about it, medyo loaded ang Phoenix eh. Katulad nga sabi mo, they had Oubre, Rubio. So parang if you think about that, where would you put Bridges there? Parang more of a 6-man role lang talaga siya eh. He won't, most likely he won't start. Tapos the other rookies, parang medyo level nila eh.
Ang problem kasi, they didn't want to use Kelly Oubre as a power forward. For a lot of people kasi, parang they should have used Kelly Oubre as a power forward and Mikal Bridges as a small forward. Okay na sana. That's a modern 5 eh. But dahil nga sa Aaron Baines mo na parang nag-step up, kahit bumalik si Ayton, they wanted to use Baines and Ayton together in a parang David Robinson, Tim Duncan kind of situation. Which mo lang naka-expect. Kasi who does that nowadays, di ba?
Yeah.
So parang kahit lahat ng experts were not expecting that will happen. But that happened. They played Baines and Ayton together. So if they're gonna continue that, mahirapan si Mikal Bridges makakuha ng value.
Hindi talaga sila nag-go small eh.
Yeah.
Okay, sige. Let's move on to the last team for this episode. We have Portland Trailblazers. Kami ni Grant, we had Hassan Whiteside. And then si Lillard si Eric had Damian Lillard. Sige, who wants to go first? Lillard muna. Total, siya yung admin.
Hindi, pero Lillard is a stud. I think everybody agrees na Lillard is the MVP. Pero I guess yung grabe rin yung ginawa ni Whiteside this year kaya napa-Whiteside din kayo. Actually, I was thinking Lillard and Whiteside. I was gonna cheat a little bit then with that. Pero Lillard, durable, is efficient, is a winner. He plays, yun lang yun eh. In fantasy, it's about showing up and playing eh. And then when he plays, he performs. So I guess... Yeah. Self-explanatory na talaga. He's really the MVP for me.
Grant?
That's why in my message, diba, sabi ko my stud was Hassan, pero immediately I said with apologies to Lillard kasi you know, sa fantasy like in life naman or business, diba? Hindsight is 2020. You can only make the best decisions with the information and your judgment at that time. So let's not kid ourselves. No one would have picked Hassan Whiteside with a second or third round pick at the start of the draft.
Yes.
Diba? No one would have. But here's the thing. The way I picked the players when you asked me to this year was based on actual results. So pare dictate ko lang yung yung numbers niya, which that's why sabi ko with apologies to Lillard. On 11 field goal attempts, he's giving you 62% field goal, 16 points a game, 14 rebounds, and 3 blocks and less than 2 turnovers a game. So that's first round value. I mean, imagine if, by a stroke of luck, ang na-draft mo si Ayton, tapos hindi siya na-injure, tapos itong si Hassan Whiteside later in the game. And then you built your first round pick, maybe si Embiid or si Kat or Anthony Davis, diba? Let's say like that. That's just first round value. And first round value at the center spot was very rare. So I just had to give that props. But I would have had to agree na if we rewound the season, definitely Lillard. Pero after season awards, I just have to give props rin sa ginawa ni Hassan. I just don't know kung sustainable. Matatakot pa rin ako next
year. Next year they might
have si Yusuf.
So
correct, nandiyan na si Yusuf Nurkic.
So baka may time player na doon so medyo mapapaisip ka na. But I picked Hassan kasi nga very surprising yung ginawa niya this year. And I also picked him as the sleeper kasi parang many people wrote him off already after last season. So parang, and si Lillard, kaya ako rin naman siya hindi pinik, nothing against him, pero medyo in-expect na natin na ganun yung level of performance niya. So si Hassan parang, he was picked mga third, baka nga fourth, fifth round na and then he jumped all the way to the first round value. So medyo malaki yung impact niya talaga dun sa fantasy-wise. So let's move on to the sleeper. Sleeper, Eric had Hassan, Carmelo, si Grant. Ako pala, I had Ariza and Carmelo. I didn't pick Hassan pala. Pinag-isipan ko lang pala si Hassan.
Hindi ako, I picked Hassan kasi as Grant said, 7th and 8th round. I finished in the first round, in the bottom end of the first round value. And I don't know the exact statistics, pero I'm pretty sure kung nag-continue ang fantasy, maraming percentage na mananalo ng fantasy this year will have Hassan Whiteside in their lineup. Because it's just a big edge talaga. Plus, he gives you the blocks and rebounds. You can win blocks with Hassan Whiteside alone. He had games with 7 blocks, 10 blocks, 8 blocks. And sa fantasy, minsan, may 3 games na 7, 5, 3 blocks. That's already 15 blocks for the whole week and you can win it already. Kaya sobrang big deal. Kaya ako siya nilagay sa sleeper more than the MVP kasi yung jump niya is really right. Very high.
And ito yung Hassan that we've all been waiting for since nung Miami days.
Yes.
Grant.
Yeah, ako, guys, sa grupo natin, ang nickname ko kay Carmelo is Meluser. Lahat tayo may hate na player, di ba? Have I ever explained to you guys the reason na bakit talaga nagagalit ako or ayaw kay Melo?
Dahil buwakaw?
Hindi pare, marami namang buwakaw sa NBA pero iba yung level ko ng asar kay Melo. It's because he killed Linsanity. Si Jeremy Lin na nga lang medyo kamukha natin sa NBA na parang Phil Chai na pwede mong
i-root for.
Oo, pwede mong i-root for. Tapos, I remember yung comments pa niya na was he happy for Jeremy Lin? Does he deserve a raise? So parang sinasay, it's his own teammate na instead of saying, I'm happy for him, brought joy to New York, parang pinatay pa niya. So sorry, this is just nothing to do with your podcast, pare. But just to explain na, objectively lang. Because you asked for a sleeper. They signed him mid-season. I thought he wouldn't contribute, but in the games that he did play, he was a late round play. So I can't to speak objectively lang and to be fair. If he's still on the waiver wire today, I would easily pick him up. Definitely better yan. Could have been my 7th, 8th, even 9th best player on my team at this point.
Ako I pick Melo rin for the reason that maraming tao really didn't expect. Parang kala nila hindi na magbabago si Melo, di ba? Yung iniisip ng mga tao na he's not a team player. I think yun yung sinasabi ni Grant, parang he was not really known as a team player. Pero this year, he gave way and then, dun na nakita yung groove niya in terms of ano lang yung tamang scoring and then contributes in the other stats. So, dun talaga natanggap niya yung role niya as a supporting role lang and not really as a star player. Kasi yun naman talaga yung parang ayaw ng mga tao sa kanya, hindi niya matanggap na role player na lang siya with his age.
Delusional siya.
Oh,
yeah, you remember when someone asked him if he's willing to come off the bench, tapos pinagtawanan niya yung reporter. But, kasi feeling niya LeBron siya eh. Nasa banana boat daw siya.
Pero this year, talagang malaking improvement na dun sa game niya in terms of efficiency rin as well.
Yeah, I think, so you have to recognize that. So, I won't forgive him for Linsanity. I remember how happy I was. I mean, I've never been a New York fan, but nung nag-Linsanity, I was following every game. But fantasy-wise, sige na nga. It's just a bunch of numbers naman.
Pero you think you'll pick Carmelo next year? Next year would be...
But he's not gonna even be in the lineup, I think. So, I doubt mapipick siya. I doubt mapipick siya at all.
By
anybody. No, I mean sa fantasy.
Yeah.
I think magiging free agent siya. I think magiging waiver wire guy siya for the foreseeable future. Kasi hindi naman, I think he was signed just for the rest of the season eh. So next year free agent na naman siya eh.
Yeah.
And if you ask me if there's a team that's gonna pick him up, I 50-50 ako doon. I don't think na there would be a team right away who would pick him up. So fantasy-wise, unstable eh. So I won't pick him.
And if ever may mag-pick up sa kanya, most likely it will be some championship contending team na could use a additional scorer that can support the star players.
Similar to what Portland did now. I think the Lakers actually would be one of the favorites.
I was about to say, I'm with 2 Lakers fans here. What if he knocks on LeBron's door and say, "Hey, Bron, you got something for me?"
So if it's for the minimum amount, minimum salary, he's gonna help. He's better than Kuzma.
I was about to say, he's gonna be better than J.R. Smith.
Yes, J.R. Smith or Kuzma is better than them. Even at this point, he's still better. And now na nagpa-play na siya ng defense, na nag-hustle na siya, na hindi na niya feeling na star siya, he's gonna be Dwight Howard part 2.
So, he can box. He's a smart player. He can, for a power forward, diba? He's got rebounds. He knows how to box, and he can play the team game. So I think he can, and he can relieve some scoring burden. And at the very least, he can be a decoy, diba? Sa mga action plays. You still can't ignore him on the wing or even sa 3-point set. He's got that range.
Hindi, ganito na lang yun eh. Would you pick Carmelo or Dwight, fantasy-wise, next year?
Carmelo ako. Siguro.
Fantasy-wise, Carmelo ka? Really?
Grant yun Carmelo talaga.
Fantasy-wise. I mean, will you pick him over Dwight next year?
Actually, sorry, hindi ko naisip ngayon. I probably wouldn't pick any of them. Kasi I don't...
Pero if you're gonna choose between them, I think you're still gonna go with Dwight. Because this year, Dwight had value kahit paano. I mean...
That's true. Diba? That's true. Oh. I don't know.
Depende sa team
I won't lose sleep over it.
Both of them with the Lakers.
Alam mo pare, when it comes to end of the draft, di ba? Itong mga 10th, 11th, 12th round, minsan yung picks mo, gusto mo yung may katuwaan eh. So you'll roll the dice with someone like Markelle Fultz. Kung bumalik siya to being a number 1 pick, yung if it works out, talaga matutuwa ka. Yung may upside masyado. Yung Carmelo, you're right. Waiver na lang yan.
Wala na masyadong ibubuga. Kumbaga. Okay, let's move on to the bus na para to cap off this episode. So the bus is Zach Collins, Nurkic for Eric, Zach Collins for Grant, and Mario Hezonja. And then I had Rodney Hood for the bust. Kaya ako naman pinik si Rodney Hood kasi he did well towards the end, especially dung playoffs last year. So I thought I had a little bit of mas mataas ng konti expectations ko with him kasi nga medyo gumawa siya nung playoffs. So I thought that magkakaroon siya ng more playing time and all. Pero wala rin talaga eh. The old Rodney Hood showed up eh. So
similarly, ganun din sa akin for Zach Collins. Kasi last playoff din. Kasi they went to the Western Conference Finals and Zach Collins contributed a lot and helped a lot. Diba? So, and then this season, I really wrote off Hassan Whiteside already. Feeling ko, this is Zach Collins' year. Kasi parang they're gonna build him up. Perfect siya. May shooting, perfect siya with Lillard. In pick and roll nila Lillard. He was
better than Myers Leonard, I thought.
Yes, better than Myers Leonard. So parang feeling ko, this is the season. And I picked him also. I targeted him very, very, very aggressively in all my teams.
And he had defensive stats, or at least he's shown flashes na kaya niyang mag-step up defensively and give you those, that's gold sa fantasy, that rare steals and blocks, di ba?
Pero isipin mo, looking back, maybe parang dapat we saw the signs na no? Na Hassan was there, and maybe timeshare yun eh. So parang...
Di ba, at least step up pa rin from last year, di ba? That's why sa akin rin naging bust siya because, honestly, I didn't pick him but I had my eye on him eh. Na sinabi ko na he might have been one of the players that would show promise and maybe take his game up. But sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Kelly Oubre did it, Mikal Bridges and Zach Collins didn't. So you wouldn't know at the beginning of the season, but he definitely was one of those that people's eyes were on him. I was, in fact, trying to trade for him at one point. Pero it didn't material. Not this year lang. Next year, maybe. He's still young.
Pero dapat pasalamat ka, hindi natuloy yung trade kasi na-injure siya eh.
Yeah, and then early in the season yun, I just was looking for a third-string center. Yun lang naman. Naghanap lang ako ng rebounds and konting blocks eh. So, I was trading waiver wire pickups yung yata eh.
Pero do you think next year you would do kasi this year na-injure talaga siya. So I think that had a major impact dun sa fantasy value niya eh. Or
no, with Hassan Whiteside playing like this and Nurkic coming back, without a trade, I'd stay away.
Isn't Hassan a free agent?
Free agent ba siya? I actually don't know about his contract situation.
I think he's a free agent eh. Ang pagkaalam ko, free agent siya. Pero kung nandyan si Hassan and Yusuf, definitely, wala na. Zach Collins, let's not think about it. But without Hassan, I would give him a shot maybe pero last pick material.
Right. Ako rin, not bad. Speaking of Hassan, I hope some team just gives him a 1-year contract kasi pag contract year yata gumagawa eh.
Kukuha lang siya ng big contract tapos wala na, it's very lazy kasi, 'di ba? Parang yun yung mga players na yung mga players na kakamot ulo si Michael Jordan. Na parang yun yung mga players na kailangan na i-push ni Jordan, yung mga ganung klaseng players.
And si Grant had Mario Hezonja.
Ano lang yan, Mario Hezonja was I thought he'd be a little bit better this year. Like slightly lower than Fournier maybe sa small forward role. But he was just a complete non-factor. Complete goals, walang kwenta. Just, lang yan, throwaway name lang yan na in terms of, Portland doesn't have a lot of buzz in the sense na magsisisi ka if you pick this guy at your pick. Lillard would have been a great pick at where you picked him. Hassan was great value. Not really a buzz, but sayang lang. Thought he could have done something more.
Actually, weird si Eric had Nurkic pero did you expect something from Nurkic? Kasi parang wala naman nag-expect ng anything from Nurkic.
Hindi, ako lang kay Nurkic kasi people were picking him pa rin. And a lot of my leagues, maraming teams nang tinago pa rin si Nurkic kahit na may injury na sila na hindi na nila malagay yung injured player sa IL. Hindi pa rin nila pinag-drop si Nurkic pero feeling nila parang he's gonna come back to save.
Tama, from the point of view that you invested once.
You invested something eh. You invested him for the whole season but although natigil ang season pero from the looks of it hindi din siya makakabalik this year eh. From the looks of it so you basically wasted one spot for the whole season which for me medyo mabigat yun.
Oh.
So, kaya for me, bust siya. Kasi people expected na babalik siya eh. I think January, February. But didn't materialize.
Tagal doon, January, February. If yun yung hinintay nila, parang...
Maraming naghihintay kasi maraming tao ang in-expect na parang maging difference maker siya in the playoffs. Playoffs natin April pa eh. So they had expectation na he would come. Parang Oladipo siya at saka silang dalawa actually yung pinaka nakikita kong tinatago talaga. Kahit na yeah.
All right. So that's it for this episode. So I think this is the 5th of the 7 series part that we're doing for the Fantasy Awards. And I hope you enjoyed the discussion we had. Medyo napaganda yung discussion natin kasi we took more than an hour to cap everything off. So, but it was all good and we had fun. I hope si Grant had fun joining us.
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks, Eric, for inviting
me. Thank you.
All right. So, we'll see you in the next episode. Hope you enjoyed this. Good night. Goodbye. See you on the next episode.